Welcome back to my channel That Cooks For Us, where I share recipes, especially the ones that I cook at my home for my family, and I show you how to make them staying miles away from home. Today I'm excited to bring you a recipe that's a true family favorite, a Bengali style chicken curry from the eastern part of India, particularly Calcutta. This dish is spicy, aromatic, and absolutely bursting with flavor. The gravy is light and runny, perfect for pairing with steamy white rice, though it also goes wonderfully well with naan and paratha. I'll be using bone-in chicken for this recipe, but you can easily make it with boneless chicken as well. Chicken curry is such a versatile dish, with every region in India having its own unique twist. This recipe, however, is a traditional Bengali version, one you won't find it at any Indian restaurants here in the US. So I encourage you to watch this video till the end and give this recipe a try. While I'm skipping garam masala to keep it simple, feel free to add it if you want an extra burst of flavor. Again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you leave today with a delicious recipe. So step 1, I'm going to start marinating the chicken. I'm adding ginger garlic paste, which also has green chilies. Next, I'm adding turmeric powder to the marinade, which is, as most of you know, is well known for its incredible medicinal properties. Marinating not only infuses the chicken with flavor, but also helps eliminate any impurities or bacteria, making it healthy and gives a flavorful base for a curry. Next, I'm going to add cayenne pepper powder to the marinade. Now, while you could use any chili powder, I prefer cayenne compared to most chili powders that you find in Indian grocery stores. Notice that I'm not adding salt here, as salt tends to draw out moisture, which we want to avoid. Give everything a good mix, and once it's well combined, set it aside for at least an hour. If you have time, letting it marinate overnight will enhance the flavors even more. Okay, let me quickly go over the ingredients we'll be using. I have 3 large chopped red onions. I have the marinated chicken that I had set aside for an hour. The onions for the portion that I have, 2.5 to 3 large is perfectly fine. You have to if you're using less chicken, then just measure it accordingly. Then I have the ginger garlic paste with also the green chilies that I had prepared earlier. For the tomatoes, I'm using salad tomatoes because I find that they are a bit more tangy compared to the Rome tomatoes, which adds a nice balance to flavors to the curry. You can use Rome tomatoes, which if you prefer, but salad tomatoes work excellent for these kind of recipes. And lastly, I'm going to cook in mustard oil today. You could use canola oil or vegetable oil or sunflower oil. That's perfectly fine, but mustard oil gives a nice flavor to the curry. I'm starting by adding mustard oil to the wok, followed by a little canola oil. While I like to mix these oils for a balanced flavor, you don't have to mix them if you prefer using just one type of oil. That's perfectly fine. Okay, once the oil heats up and you see it starts to smoke slightly, go ahead and add the onions to the wok and start giving it a nice stir. Notice the flame in the wok. That adds a wonderful restaurant-like flavor to the gravy. If you're cooking indoors though, you might want to skip this step for safety. Continue stirring the onion in low to medium heat for 10 to 15 minutes until the onions turn brown and translucent and somewhat mushy. this is a very important step, so make sure you keep doing that. You only stop when you start to see oil separating out a little bit from the onions.
Actually, I'm going to turn this off and chop the tomatoes.
Now go ahead and add the tomatoes to the onion and continue the stir process for another 10 to 15 minutes, and make sure the flame is low to medium, not high, because if it's high it might stick to the wok, it might burn the onion and it will ruin the taste. So keep doing it for 10-15 minutes, and make sure you also have a jug of water. In case you start to see it sticking, you can always add 2-3 tablespoons of water just to avoid the burn in case if it's happening. Alright, at this point I'm going to add the ginger garlic paste. Now it is important to note that I'm adding the paste only after the onions and tomatoes are cooked, as we don't want to overcook the ginger and garlic. See, the sequence here is crucial for best flavor. After adding the paste, continue stirring over low to medium heat for another 15 to 20 minutes. The longer you saute, the better the gravy will taste. Actually, in Hindi, this process is called bhuna, and in Bengali, it is called kosha. Go ahead and add the salt. It all depends on your taste. I'm adding roughly 2 tablespoons, but whatever works for you. And after the salt is added, go ahead and continue the stir. Keep doing it for another maybe 10 minutes. So by this time we are already 30 to 35 minutes into the cooking, and we have not yet added the chicken. So which is a good thing, because now you see the oil separate out from the onions. This is what we want to see. Now we can continue doing it for another maybe 10 minutes. Like I said, the more you saute before you start adding the chicken, the better the flavor of the gravy will be. So now that you start see the oil, you can stop or maybe go another 10 minutes, but make sure you don't burn or overdo the onions. Now we start adding the masala, but before you start doing that, make sure your flame is off, otherwise you'll burn it. So we start by adding Kashmiri chili powder. Now Kashmiri chili powder is mainly for color, right? It doesn't have the heat. What I do is I just use paprika, right? The paprika gives me good color. Now because we like things a little spicy, I also add extra hot chili powder. This is or the yellow chili powder that you get in Indian grocery stores. But you can certainly add cayenne pepper. It works just fine. Then I'm going to add jeera powder or cumin powder. Now I have prepared this powder at home. And in this particular dish, I'm only going to use jeera powder. I'm not going to use coriander powder. There are other chicken curry dishes that I'm going to show you in later videos where we use coriander powder. So coriander powder North Indian chicken dishes make a lot of use of coriander powder, but this is a very East India style of cooking chicken curry where we do not use coriander, but you can certainly go ahead and use it. That's perfectly fine. Now go ahead and add the chicken, and we need not saute the onions anymore. The rest of the thing is just slow cook process for easy 30-35 minutes, for another 30-35 minutes. So the entire dish takes a good 60 to 90 minutes to cook. So now that I've added all the masala, I'm going to continue the stir for another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to add water and leave it to cook by itself in low heat for 30 minutes. From this point onward, the cooking will continue on low to medium heat, with stirring every 10 to 15 minutes. Take a look at the gravy in the wok. Notice that I haven't added any extra water. When you cook chicken this way and see it releasing water into the wok, that's a great sign. It means the chicken is fresh and hasn't been refrigerated for too long. Refrigerated chicken tends to release less water because the refrigeration process itself draws moisture out of the meat, leaving it drier. I'm going to speed through the rest of the video now. From here on, it's all about consistently stirring the curry and making sure not to step away for too long, as that could risk burning the meat, which we definitely do not want. Keep cooking with the lid on over low to medium heat. I've also added some fresh cilantro, but that's completely optional. In fact, chicken curry from Eastern India typically doesn't use much cilantro or coriander or dhania leaves, like we call it in India. Here they call it cilantro. Towards the end of the cooking process, you can add some garam masala if you would like. It's a great way to enhance the flavor of the curry. I'll be continuing this process for the next 30 to 35 minutes. After 35 minutes of slow cooking, the dish is finally ready. Since we want the curry to have some gravy, I've added a bit of water to the wok, just enough to achieve the desired consistency. Be careful not to add too much. Once the water is added, cook for another 5 to 10 minutes until it starts to bubble. And with that, our dish is ready to be enjoyed with friends and family. Like many traditional preparations, you will find that even this curry tastes even better the next day as flavors deepened and melt together. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed cooking this dish. There is nothing more satisfying than when a recipe turns out just the way I envisioned. And it's even more rewarding to see my family, especially my kids and my wife, who's an amazing cook herself, loving it. I look forward to catching up with you in another video soon. As you can probably tell, I'm still new to YouTube. So if you have any feedback on how I can make these videos even better, please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Cheers.